The Electoral College has had few defenders in history. From the very beginning, people criticized it. It has been criticized almost nonstop for over 200 years, and there have been constant efforts to either abolish or reform it, usually through constitutional amendment. Very troubling events on January 6th, in which an armed mob stormed the United States Capitol to try to interfere with and disrupt and potentially overturn the official counting of the electoral votes, was not just an episode in presidential politics, but an episode in the Electoral College, in this really peculiar Byzantine process laid out by the Constitution. Why did the 55 delegates who gathered in Philadelphia in the summer of 1787 choose this system of electing president rather than another? It was only because other options were criticized that the Electoral College won in part by default. The main option was legislative selection, Congress, where people who represented all constituencies of the country would gather and be able to have a deliberative process to choose a president. This was the option they thought made the most sense. The problem was they didn't think the president could be an independent figure in the national government if the president was effectively at the beck and call of Congress. There wouldn't be sufficient executive independence. When it came to a national popular vote, in a relatively large country for the time, even though the United States was much smaller in the late 18th century than it is now, technology was very limited at the time. How would information spread? How would people be suitably educated? So that was a big concern, the so-called information gap. Secondly, though, there was a real concern that if you gave this decision over to the people, this would be a recipe for demagogues, people who stoked hatreds and passions and whipped people into a frenzy, and that it wouldn't be a calm, deliberative process. What actually causes the problems that we're seeing today, that can lead to a difference in who wins the Electoral College and who wins the national popular vote, is nothing mandated by the Constitution, but instead the choices that almost all the states have made to distribute their electors based on a winner-take-all model. Whoever wins the most votes in Florida gets 100% of the electoral votes in Florida, same as California, Texas, Ohio, Michigan. The only two states who don't do this are Maine and Nebraska. None of this is required. The states began doing this early in the Electoral College's history because there was a recognition, which makes perfect sense from a political standpoint, that if some states are doing it, every other state needs to do it. Otherwise, they're going to punish themselves. So what is really important to know is that the distinctive feature of the Electoral College that causes the most problems in people's eyes is actually the one thing that is not required. That is just a matter of state law, and any state legislature could change it at any time to any system they prefer.